Lindsay here, making an update here, little change on how I start making these videos. Watching some of what I've made thus far, it's been a lot of shaky camera business, and as the cartoon show says, no sir, I don't like it. So I'm going to do a lot more using a tripod here, especially until I get a better camera and perhaps a several $1,000 Steadicam rig. Doing mobile shots is going to require a bit more finesse. I don't know how I'm going to deal with that right now, but for now, I'm a drummer. I have tripods coming out of my ears. I can do this. So anyway, railroad back here. Since we're in this area, you might be able to see I've got some cardboard mock-ups going for my power plant so I can check the overall dimensions of the area, kind of make sure everything's happening there, see what kind of corrections I need to make in order to fully design the final structure and make a reasonable facsimile of the Zunai power plant. And then the other structure going on back here is my car shop, engine house, kind of all-purpose shop. And basically built on the footprint of the original, hence the bit of stone foundation that you can probably see, that tan line at the bottom. But initially built to service engines working in that area, but has eventually, as the need for servicing locomotives here has diminished, has seen new life as kind of an all-purpose fix-it, repair, and welding shop for any of the larger brewery equipment and things like that. So that'll give me another operational aspect that I can use it for. Some flat cars with some interesting loads on them and things like that. So anyway, I'll take you around the railroad. We'll make a few stops and see some of the things that I've been working on. One thing we can definitely say about this room is the lighting is better because I've installed my LED fluorescents. And they're kind of in temporary locations right now until I get the rest of the units that I need. But for now, they're working pretty nicely. Throwing plenty of light around here and generally making it certainly easier to see on camera. The light's not as dingy as those little hockey puck lights as I was using. But yeah, they're really good, which means they're not exactly cheap. They're cheap-ish. I mean, they're not $1,000 units, but you know, $40 a copy adds up if you need 6 of them. And wasn't quite ready to commit to that just yet. I'm gonna try and get them piecemeal, but there always seems to be some new thing coming in the budget. So anyway, that's what's going on around here. Take the camera around to some different locations, show you what's been going on. See you in a bit. Okay, so the first location I mentioned, the car shop, engine house, all-purpose area. Get a closer look at this. You can see the shop itself there, and that tan line I was mentioning right there. This kind of stone foundation is basically a representation of the original car shop's foundation, which was built with stone and the rest of the structure was wooden, I think. Wooden or brick. I can't get any clear color photos of it, except for the door area, which was all wooden. But basically, I just came up with a fiction that when the flood happened in '65, not only did the bridge get washed out, but the original shops got floated away as well. So when the decision was made to continue this operation for the sake of the brewery and all of that good stuff, a new shop was erected to serve both the engines that worked the brewery area and any heavy equipment coming from the place. So there's that. You can kind of see the power plant mock-ups and the one new track that's come in there. It's kind of an all-purpose empty stash and just a place for a switcher to put stuff when it gets itself painted into a corner. So that's how that's working. You can also see the fascia that I've been putting in and some of my locomotives, including nice new Athearn SD40. With any luck, I'll be able to get another one. So kind of looking around the room here, kind of at fascia level, see what I've been doing there. That building is probably not going to stay there. I think 12th Avenue and stand of trees are more appropriate to that area. And over here, probably my next scratch build, I'm going to start working on the the rock dock. Basically, I have to put some put a timber retaining wall there so I can finish the ballast and everything. Start getting the scenery laid in over here. And then I got to build a unloading trestle here in the spirit of an old coal dock. I saw something that looked kind of like what I wanted in a Walthers kit, but I would have had to buy 2 of those kits and throw away 90% of them, or find some other purpose for them that I didn't really have. Whereas I can just scratch build the thing for pennies on the dollar compared to the Walthers project. Get something that looks a lot better and will certainly be more enjoyable to build, more play value. So there's that. Then the lumberyard. I'm probably going to get that ready for paving soon. I got to figure out what I'm going to do for a fence around there. But since I work in lumber yards and have for a long time, I kind of know what details to put in there. And thanks to Derek Glass and his footage of the Altoona shop, that gave me an idea of some of the things that locomotive workshops like to keep around. So that's going to give me some ideas on the interior for this thing. You know, some of the tool bins and things that they typically have around there. Obviously this won't be as modern. Everything here is done super low rent compared to Altoona, but it was a good reference nonetheless. So I hope you had a good time, Derek. And so anyway, that's what's going on in this room. We'll go ahead and head out the door there because there's some stuff I want to show you out there. Alright, first major development out here, of course, is my new staging yard. So we can kind of see how that's working out. Dimensionally, it's 15 inches wide by 12 feet long. Got 5 tracks spaced 2.5 inches apart. 4 of them really can function as staging and storage. The rearmost track is basically just a long switchback and kind of overflow so that you can get to those other 2 tracks over there on the end, which are slated to be locomotive storage and staging. I'd really like to keep the handling of the motors to an absolute minimum, so if they don't have to be pulled off of their train by hand, they just need to be stashed somewhere. There's a couple of tracks where you can just leave them on the rails, don't touch anything but the throttle, and that'll just minimize handling on something that obviously gets more detail and attention and all of those things than, say, freight cars, which need little more than a good weathering job and you know, a decent numbering and sorting system. So that's how that is. Show you a little bit about how this thing works. This whole package is on wheels, and I've made it with this section having a couple of little buckles there. Move that quick, right? And it's held in with furniture dowels. And so there's a couple of pin inserts there. But that's how that section comes off, and then getting it back into place isn't too difficult. Since the floor isn't perfectly level in here. It takes just a little bit of lifting to get the pins to catch. Snap these into place. And then I take this guy right here and clamp it to the base so that it kind of stabilizes the whole structure, doesn't put all the load on those furniture pins. And they're precise enough that the tracks line up at least derailment free. Maybe a little noisy, maybe a little scary to somebody unfamiliar with it, but no big whoop. So that's how that's operating right there. So what I've got going on here is a drop leaf section. So just do that, close the hatch, and in and out of the railroad as needed without having to roll away the whole staging yard. And then this comes back up, lines up with a sliding latch. I'll do some detail shots on that here in a bit. And then another quick grip holds it to the railroad just for safety, so a major bump doesn't separate these 2 sections while a train is in motion. And so that's how that all works. The whole thing, you know, this folds down, the sections come apart, both sections roll right into the railroad room, and life is good. Anyway, that's what's happening on this end of the railroad. Let me reset this thing. We'll do a little bit of detail on the underside and how I'm doing the wiring and all that good stuff. Okay, so wanted to show you how the wiring works between these two things. Basically, use a 3+1 trailer plug, and these two poles here, hold this up right here, basically the brown wire, white wire, this correlates to white wire on the rest of the railroad. This is the power input to the staging yard bus, and that immediately goes up here to a terminal block. Let's see here, to that terminal block. So power supply in, and then immediately ties into this yellow and green wire setup to carry power back out through the plug and into this section of the railroad right here to the fish tank, so to speak, and this other trailer plug. And those two wires go to some feeders that are up in here that basically make a fail-safe connection, so that when the drop leaf isn't there, obviously you can't drop this leaf without the power wires being connected. Or, see, did I get that right? You can't drop this leaf with the power wires connected. It kind of creates a natural screw up in your day, kind of a natural hitch in your giddy up, I guess you could say. And so when this is connected, it feeds track power back to this section right here. When it's not connected, it isolates the last 2 feet of track, so you have an electrical failsafe to keep things from plunging off the end. So that's how that's working out right there. And like I said, there's the old quick grip. So undoing it isn't too much trouble. Undo those, pop that off, just kind of stash it off to the side here, and then undo this latch. Now we got a little bit of better lighting here. I'm going to see if I can get a view of this latch up here. Okay, that is a pretty solid design, very tightly built, and I've had pretty good luck with these things in drop bridges. There's a tiny amount of slop, but if you set its kind of natural at-rest position and then lay the track so everything is nice and even, usually don't get too many problems. Like I said, any additional slop can be made up by adjusting with the quick grip and kind of establishing a better alignment. But yeah, thus far I have not derailed anything going across it, so pretty good little system. So anyway, that's what's going on underneath this module right here. So that's what's been going on around here. Getting quite a bit done between the lighting, fascia, structures, staging yard, and now because of that operation, everything should be going pretty nicely on this railroad. So definitely starting to get into some stuff I've been looking forward since I started this project. Particularly any opportunity to recreate something that is recognizably Denver. Hopefully I can pull that off. We'll see what happens when I start building the I-25 overpass there. So anyway, that's what's going on around here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and thanks for coming out.